Hello, my name is Arthur. This just so happens to be History Human. What do you think of when you hear the word barbarian? Conan the Barbarian, Xena Warrior Princess, Attila the Hun? Well, what if I told you that when I hear the word barbarian, I think of the Romans and the Greeks? Today we're going to ask ourselves a question, and that question is going to be, what exactly is a barbarian? The term barbarian is derived from the Greek barbaros, which roughly translated means outsider, and even more roughly translated means someone who goes bar. For those fans of John Green's Crash Course World History saying that I stole that fact from him, you're wrong. Believe it or not, barbaros generally was an onomatopoeic word. The Greeks apparently did believe that all other languages except for Greek sounded like bar. Anyway, the Greeks were of the belief that they were in fact a superior race, and they used this belief to justify keeping slaves from other ethnic groups. Aristotle was once quoted as saying that northern races were spirited, southern races were intelligent, but only the Greeks were spirited and intelligent. The Greek stereotype of barbarians were people who were hot-headed, violent, and generally unable to govern themselves. Nowadays, the word barbarian means someone who lacks culture, who's violent and brawny, or in the romantic sense, someone who is strong and tough, fighting all that's in her way to get to her goal and save the princess and... Oh wait, sorry, I'm fantasizing about seeing it again. Anyway, the stereotype of the noble savage also falls into the barbarian category. Anyway, let's concentrate on the not-so-romantic definition. One of the groups that the Greeks considered to be barbarians were the Persians. Yes, I'm talking about the same Persians that Leonidas fought. But were they really barbarians? The Persian Empire was interesting. Instead of invading a country and killing the local elites, they would go up to the local elites and offer them the right to keep their positions as long as they pledged allegiance to the king of Persia. Zoroastrianism, the religion of the Persian Empire, forbade slavery, so slavery was almost unheard of in the Persian Empire. And what's more, people in the Persian Empire actually had freedom of religion. On the other side, Sparta was an authoritarian state with one purpose and one purpose alone: making soldiers. When a child was born, it was examined by the city elders, and if it was deemed unfit to live, it was thrown off a cliff, or just left to die of exposure. Either way, not a good way for a baby to die. Speaking of childbirth, Spartan men were excused from all the duty to the state if they had 4 or more children, which is a good incentive to have as many children as possible to either become soldiers or the mothers of soldiers. Spartan boys were trained to be soldiers from the age of 7, and during that training they were encouraged to steal. If they were caught, they were punished not for stealing, but for getting caught. This was to install a sense of ruthlessness in future soldiers. Girls were also trained and educated alongside boys, logic being that strong men and strong women make strong babies. In short, Conan plus Xena equals Bam Bam. But surely if everyone was a soldier, who would do all the other stuff in Sparta? Well, that's where the Helots came in. The Spartans enslaved an entire ethnic group of people called the Helots. Basically, they did all the things that the Spartans couldn't do when they were too busy being warriors. They held up the Spartan state and were effectively tied to the land as chattel. And almost every year the Spartans would declare war on the Helots just so they can legally kill them and pretty much discourage them from staging an uprising, which, by the way, they did a couple of times, and it didn't really go well for them. In short, the Spartans were a little bit like the Klingons from Star Trek, only real and a lot worse. Now you might be thinking that peace-loving, democratic Athenians would be nicer and lovelier and nothing like the Spartans. Well, you'd actually be wrong. They were pretty barbaric as well. In the Athenian democracy, the vast majority of people in Athens couldn't actually vote. You had to be of a certain age, you had to be not a woman or a slave. If you were a woman in ancient Athens, you pretty much had a bum deal. You weren't allowed to answer the door. If you had visitors over, you had to be in a separate room away from the guests. Women were rarely allowed at the house, and when they were allowed at the house, they pretty much had to cover their faces. And then there's the Romans. They literally had a sport where they would watch people fight to the death. I mean, if that's not particularly barbaric, I don't know what is. As is often said, the victors tend to write history, and the Greeks and Romans definitely were the victors in their time, so it comes as no surprise that we tend to see them in a much more positive light. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe. I don't know where the subscribe button is now. Maybe in the future it will be up there. There. Just click a button which says subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. I will hopefully see you next week.